where they go to Fort Sheridan while they're still in the military. And there they meet some new friends, Woody Kent, First Sergeant Woody Kent, and then David Lytle, who's retired military. And then they're carried forward in the Newbeck. So all the books are called the Sam Call series.
Right, and he was in the military, but then he becomes a private investigator, is that right?
Yeah, Sam is career military, always wanted to be a soldier, joined it right after the college. And then he was a career-minded soldier, but he ran into some problems in ethics, and so it became bigger than him and the Army, and he parted ways. So they sent him to Fort Sheridan on a terminal assignment to close Fort Sheridan, which is the Army's lovely way of, they use a terminal assignment as your last assignment. I guess they kind of figure like you're going to die afterwards. But he goes there, and while there, he uncovers or finds really a diary and some financial records from World War II. And he starts to read that diary and look at those financial records, becomes intrigued, does some research, and finds that that during World War II, that Fort Sheridan was a place where they out-processed Americans from the service, and also they had German prisoners of war there. So as he's researching this and reading the diary, he becomes intrigued with the whole idea of what went on back in those days. And then the diary suddenly stops. So this spurs Sam into looking into further what happened to this guy, Sergeant Jonathan Simon. And he brings on Woody Kent, and they begin to research and find out what happened to Jonathan Simon.
Well, this sounds like there's some elements of truth. I mean, this is a novel, but
yes,
this really, I mean, this is true about Fort Sheridan? That
Yeah, all my books are what you call historical fiction, mostly because it's all based on, a lot of it's based on fact, and a lot of the characters are real or based on real people. 10th Man is based on some incidents that occurred. Certainly this fictional character, Sam Call, is based upon incidents that I knew of while I was in the military for 20 years. And the setting of Fort Sheridan certainly is real, and the POWs were there. We did find the diary, and we did find the financial records while we were there, and the process was to close Fort Sheridan. So a lot of what goes on in that book is based on fact. I wrote 10th Man because I've been always interested in history, particularly military history, and whenever I go anywhere, I always look into the cemeteries. You walk through the cemeteries, you can tell a lot about history about the cemeteries. At Fort Sheridan, I walked through there, and there were at the back 9 gravestones, and I looked, and they were Germans. I went, well, it's interesting that in 1945 and 46, they have 9 German soldiers die here. So that led me to start some investigation in the Post Library, and found out that these soldiers were there, they had died there. Indeed, the first one who died by accident there had this front page in the book, in the local newspaper. They had a funeral for him, it was a big deal.
Wow.
The others, I didn't even know they had died. It was like, okay, we've seen one, it's over. So I started more research, and I found some financial records about that they used to hire these guys out for wage. And I found one report that said this is how many were being hired out at this rate, and then I found another report that said this is how much money the government got. Well, they didn't match. And no matter how much research I did, I couldn't get them to match. Which one thing led to another, and then we found all these records there. We were actually moving things around from the war, and then led to a story. And I thought, well, wouldn't that be cool if I wrote this story? So I did. And then after an overnight success of 10 years, I got it out there into the world. And I loved it. I loved the idea of portraying military people with this quality that most people don't see.
Right.
That's honor is, for most of them, about everything. You see it on TV today, you see these young 19-year-old kids out there, and they're out there in this dust and crud, and they're talking about the guy in the next foxhole, and it's all true. I mean, it really is very, very personal, very emotional. And then I really wanted to extend that and give more depth to those characters, which is why I started writing more. But I just love to write.
All right.
I just love to write.